The land that is known as Chatham-Kent today was established as part of Treaty Number 2, the Maquis Purchase Treaty of 1790. At that time, the land was also inhabited by the Three Fires Confederacy, that is the Ottawa, the Potawatomi, and the Ojibwa. These indigenous nations, known as the Anishinaabeg and the Lunapui, agreed to the mutual sharing of the land, with obligations and responsibilities to the environment. Today, Chatham-Kent neighbors the Lunapui at Delaware Nation, which is part of the Maquis Purchase Treaty, as well as the unceded territory of the Wigwam-Walpole Island First Nation. Chatham-Kent continues to be home to diverse First Nations people and Métis people. And as beneficiaries of the treaty, we recognize all peoples have responsibilities, including collective responsibilities, to be stewards of the land and water. And so take a moment to just reflect on this. You know, I know that I mentioned to you guys about the wampum belt, and I saw there was a picture of a wampum belt being exchanged with the Caldwell First Nation and Chatham-Kent dignitaries. And again, that's given in good faith and recognition that and it's really not about ownership. It's just about giving and sharing. It's not about we give this to you and you give us something back. It's about giving and sharing. So I really appreciate that. And then I have some poetry. One in particular, there we go. We're going to leave that one to the end. And then I have these two that I want to read to you. No, okay. Need to take that one out, but transcribe it. Okay. So as I mentioned, we're going to hope to have a little talk with you tonight about sleep, in recognition that some of us might be feeling a little sleep deprived with the spring forward that happened late Sunday night, or actually I guess Sunday morning, really, right? My husband likes to joke, and he was saying, he's like, I have to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning to change the clocks back. And but this poem is called The Night. And this maybe explains why some of us feel more anxious at nighttime than at any other time in the day. Maybe that's not the case for you. It certainly is for me. The night. The night is a dangerous thing. The darkness somehow illuminates everything the light of day hid. It all comes out from under the bed to haunt you, to taunt you. The words you wish you could take back, the words you wish you had let out, the things you failed to do and the things you did so wrong. The monsters of your past and the demons from your future all come out in the night to rid you of the peace sleep can bring. The night is a tricky thing, but if you learn early on to turn on the light, it all goes away. The switch is not on your wall, though, or by your bed. It's in your own head, and it's yours to flick on anytime you need. And to a certain extent, this is what we try to do with meditation and other kinds of therapies, especially. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a few lines left. I didn't remember that. So let me just finish before I start yakking about that. And it's yours to flick on anytime you need, right? The monsters and the demons and the fears and the worry all scuttle away from the light that you can shine anytime, anytime. And that's very, very true. And as I was saying, that's the premise of so many different kinds of therapies, that we have everything within us that we need, including choice. And sometimes we forget that, especially when we're locked in the throes of fear or anxiety. We can take a breath in. A lot of times that really helps to give us a little bit of clarity, a little bit of space from the things that are disturbing us. And then we have some options then in cognitive behavioral therapy. It's all about changing the thoughts. And I agree with that, but I also think that sometimes there's a bit more to it, that it's not just about changing our thoughts. It's about understanding where those thoughts are coming from and seeing those thoughts as a bit of information or messages that we need to act on or dig a little deeper or try to understand some things. This next poem, and these are all poems tonight by Donna Ashworth, my new favorite poet. And this one is called Light Begets Light. There will be times when your light is dim, when there is scarce enough to fulfill your own needs, never mind anyone else's. On those days, it is vital that you seek out more light elsewhere. It's free and readily available. You simply have to ask. There will be other times when you are simply brimming with that light. You are simply brimming with that light. So full, in fact, that you cannot help but throw it around like confetti, covering everything in the beauty it brings. Do so. You may think you have to stockpile that light to warm you when the days are dark, but that's not how this energy works. You give when you can, you take when you need, and so the circle goes around. Light begets light. It never stops forming. So accept the light on those thundery days and shower this parched world with it when you are the one who is shining. Light begets light. So lots to think about there and how true that is, right? If we're feeling pretty good about something, it can almost be contagious. And we certainly appreciate that in other people most of the time. And so then this next poem, which is also by Donna Ashworth, is called Sleep Won't Help. And I thought it was particularly appropriate for tonight's meditation. Sleep won't help if it's your soul which is exhausted. Food won't satisfy a hunger for acceptance, love, or adventure. An empty void can't be filled with material possessions or holidays. A bountiful bank account won't buy health or happiness. If you aren't watering the seeds of your joy, your life will never flower, and no amount of expensive decoration will make it blossom. Sleep won't help if it's your soul which is exhausted. But the good news is the remedies you need are free and plentiful, and they are all around you, hiding in plain sight amongst the everyday. What are those things that are hiding in amongst us, all around us every day? Experiences and other things that we can bring to ourselves or on purpose plan to enjoy and really savor. But we tend to sometimes rush through these things, don't we? Okay, so as promised, a little bit of a talk about sleep and what the researchers are telling us that help with sleep. Many of these things I know I've talked about in other times, and again, in part because this is being recorded, it's worth revisiting again. So we all know what it feels like when we have had a good sleep, and it's sort of about what do we do to cultivate that? How can we cultivate that? And there are recommendations that are made by some experts about how to do that. And the first thing that is recommended is to, and this is going to sound strange, but there's some wisdom to this, refine your morning routine. Wait, but this is about being able to fall asleep at night, correct? And so we might not think that the things that we do or that we create for ourselves throughout the day have any influence, but they do. So it's really important, how you lay the groundwork to start your day and also to end your day. It turns out that we like routine, and another word for routine is ritual. So on those nights when you haven't slept very, very well, a nourishing morning routine can allow you to get up on the right side of the bed. So what does that mean? It means that before our feet hit the ground, we take a moment, feel our bodies, recognize, okay, I didn't sleep the greatest, but in this moment, I feel okay. you know, and we can make a sort of a commitment to ourselves to make sure that we get to bed a bit earlier in the night and that sort of thing, promising ourselves, but also honoring those promises. Um, and keeping a morning routine with a mindfulness practice. That's certainly the time that I do most of my meditation is in the morning. But what are some of the other things that we do that help us to start our day? We make sure that we nourish our bodies with some breakfast or something nourishing, warm to drink if it's cool out. Maybe even noticing the sun. There are quite a few things that can really help to bring some stability and calmness to ourselves first thing in the morning. And you know, there's some really lovely things that we might want to do. And just now in this moment, think about your own morning routine or ritual. What do you like to do? How do you like to start every day? Um, you know, I get out of well, before I get out of bed, I do some stretching. I kind of raise my legs up and just get my body to wake up because it feels like sometimes if I don't do that and I jump out of bed, I'm kind of sluggish and stuff. So I do a fair amount of stretching and even progressive muscle relaxation. I want to feel my feet, my toes, my hands. And then, you know, then okay, so it's time to meditate. And I will either sit up to meditate or I will put my feet up the wall. And as I shared with you last week, the other thing that I've added to my morning routine is the cyclic sighing, that 5 minutes of, you know, the inhale and the long, slow exhale. And I really believe that that is, I don't know, there's some things I'm noticing and I like it. I don't know. I think I'm noticing that there is a little bit more space or calm throughout my day. And if not, if I'm getting triggered by something or getting a bit heightened, I will do that. I will take that breath in and that long, slow exhale. And the best part of that is nobody knows what I'm doing. It's just this little commitment I have for self-care for myself. And so then after I meditate, I like to get up and get washed, brush my teeth. Well, sorry, I usually eat something and drink something warm. And then maybe I get dressed and then I go and I brush my teeth and do other things for daily care. And then I get ready to go to work and making sure that I have everything I need and kiss my husband goodbye, wish him well, and off I go. So it's not very exciting, but it's a ritual I like. And weekends, it's different. And one of the things I love to do is when I'm starting to kind of awaken, I like to look at the clock and go, oh, but I don't have to go to work today. So I snuggle back down. And sometimes when I'm very lucky, I fall back asleep. Not very often, but sometimes it happens. Okay, so there's my sleep routine, or sorry, my morning routine that I think sort of sets me up for having a good sleep. The next thing that the experts recommend is to move before you sleep. And by that, they mean, you know, spend some time relaxing your body and your mind by stretching out tight muscles before you actually, you know, get into bed. And there's some recommendations here that out of 14 quality studies included in a review looking at the relationship between mindful movement and sleep outcomes, the results showed that mindful movement interventions resulted in significantly better quality sleep, notes Kara Bradley. And there's some truth to that too. Those of us who maybe participate daily in some exercise, whether it's, you know, going for a walk. That's something that my husband and I try to do at least every day, is to go for about a 40-minute walk, weather permitting. If it's not great outside, we have some inside things we do. We have a treadmill and an elliptical machine here, and we'll do that. It's very important, I think, to move my body. I want to kind of release some of those tensions and also just to move. Anxiety and just different stressors can kind of build up, and I find movement really helpful for that. But then there is a little caveat here because you don't want to do that too close to your bedtime. because your heart rate gets kind of elevated, and sometimes it's really hard to kind of bring that down in time to sleep well. So I caution that. It doesn't say anything about that, but I'm going to make that recommendation that not to exercise too close to bedtime, but do try on purpose to move your body sometime throughout the day, even if it's, you know, climbing up and down the stairs to do laundry or put clothes away or whatever. Even our housework can be counted as movement, I think. You don't have to go to the gym to kind of make that count. Okay, so there's another recommendation. And then the last thing that they talk about is letting curiosity and openness help you relax. There's some truth to that. Now, what are we talking about? Well, it turns out that the harder we try to fall asleep. So, in other words, if we set ourselves up like, okay, I'm going to get into this bed and I'm going to fall right asleep, and oh, I better, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. We can almost be overtired sometimes, and we can almost talk ourselves into that. The louder that striving is, okay, I'm going to get a good sleep and I'm going to fall asleep quickly. The louder that is, the louder our inner critic tends to become if it doesn't happen right away. I'm not falling asleep. Oh, this is ruined, or that kind of negative talk. So what helps is exactly what you're doing tonight, by practicing meditation and mindfulness. These are lovely, lovely ways to bring some calm, and it's very cumulative. And it does. Dr. Judson Brewer, who's a sleep expert at, I believe he's at Harvard Medical, or is he at the next one? I'm not sure. He was at Harvard. I think he's still there. But he recommends mindfulness to help his patients shift their mental energy from looping and thinking to, bringing that relaxation to yourself by a meditation practice. And, you guys do this tonight with me at 7 o'clock on Tuesdays. And there's a part of me that really hopes that you practice a bit more than that throughout the week. But no pressure, because as I've said over and over again, even minutes a day really, really brings some benefit. And it's just about paying attention on purpose to what is happening in your body. And he really, really likes the body scan meditation, as do I, um, because it really does help bring awareness to what's happening in your body, and then also choice, so that if there's some tension or tightness, you can invite yourself to let go with the breath, as we do and as we try to practice. So there's some wisdom to the body scan meditation. There are other things that people do that really help to lull them to sleep, and music is a beautiful thing. I'm also going to recommend that you don't tend to watch anything too stimulating. Used to be that people would watch the 11 o'clock news before trying to sleep at night. And I don't know how many years ago I gave that up because it just wasn't helping at all. So I tend to watch my news earlier in the day, if I watch news at all, but mostly I read the news, because I have more ability to sort of protect myself. I'll read things, I'll scan things. And if something is really difficult, I will, really check in with myself to see, do I want to further, read more about this, or is there another way I can learn about it? Or do I think I understand what I need to understand? I try not to bury my head in the sand, but I'm also going to be protective. So yeah, so there are some sleep recommendations and thoughts about sleep. And then I have more, but I'm just conscious of the time, and I don't want to. We're already doing many of these things. Number one on their list is progressive muscle relaxation. Number two on their list is visualizing your happy place. And that might be remembering a walk that you've taken in a beautiful place, or, revisiting in your mind a wonderful trip that you had, a special location. Just calling to mind a peaceful setting, and then remembering all the lovely things that you can remember about that spot. Um, and then emotional landscape. Changing the way you see your internal landscape is a very powerful way to alter it. So when we bring, lovely, relaxing visualizations to ourselves, um, and we sort of kind of touch into the distressing things, but shift to some of the more calming things that help, we can kind of do that. So, we have that ability and that choice. And that from our practices here when we do guided visualizations of how powerful that can be. And sometimes it's hard to do that on your own. And I've said this over and over again too. There are many, many guided visualization meditations that are available free on YouTube or anywhere else on the computer that you have access to, like Spotify or Apple or whatever. And again, it's about sort of allowing yourself to really enter that space, whether it's something you create or something that you remember from the past, and combining that with focused breathing, which we're going to do right now. Um, I'm just going to put these on the ground, I think, so that we don't. So I don't know if any of you have had a chance to practice that cyclic sighing, the breathing exercise that is very, very helpful for anxiety and mood. As I was mentioning, I've really added that. I'm curious to see if I notice any changes or differences. And I think the other thing that I can say is that quite a few little stressful things have been going on, and I'm getting ready to travel. So there was a few anxious moments of, how am I going to get there? I had one plan to get to the airport, and that fell through because of some things my husband's involved in. And anyway, so it was like scramble, scramble, a little bit of stress there. And I guess I would say that wasn't quite as disturbing as it might have been, you know. And yeah, so I think that I don't know. I really don't know. It's really, got to be continued to sort of see if there's any other benefits to that. But I thought that we might just take some time tonight to do that again. And I don't know if you want to do the full 5 minutes. I'm going to hope. Sorry, I just need to cancel something. I'm going to hope that most of you have maybe done some of that already, but I'm going to suggest that we try 3 minutes of that cyclic sighing and go from there. So, adopting your comfortable meditation pose, whatever that is, your posture, if you're sitting or lying down, whatever that might be, and getting ready and settling yourself in, adjusting your sit bones, making sure that you're alert, not too sleepy. If you are sleepy, I don't recommend lying down, but just sort of sitting in that comfortable yet alert, relaxed pose. And we'll start the meditation now. And your eyes can be open or closed, but we start by breathing in, deeply filling our chest and lungs, and then one more sip in, and then a lovely, long, slow exhale. I'm going to invite you to do that silently now. Just letting your focus rest right there on that breathing. The inhale and the long, slow exhale. About 30 seconds more. You might want to open your eyes. Continue the breathing. And that was 3 minutes. Um, I had a little bit of interaction with some folks through the week who were mentioning that practice and how they found it interesting, a little bit challenging sometimes. And when we troubleshooted, to sort of understand what was going on, what they noticed was that there was an overinflation at first. So, like if we take in a deep breath and then we take more, then our lungs are really full, and then when we exhale, we're going to really need to exhale probably quicker than is beneficial. So you don't want to overinflate, and I just encourage you to play with it so that you're inhaling, taking a little bit more in, pause, and then exhale nice and slow. That's the real key. I hesitate to say this, but I'm not even sure that the inhale is all that important, except that we have to inhale. But the most important, the thing that is the most relaxing, that brings that and sends that message to our polyvagal system, is the relaxation. That long, slow exhale turns off the fight or flight that kind of can get activated throughout the day. So yeah, so I just was remembering the vagus massage, the vagus nerve massage, and I'm just going to encourage you to give a little bit of that, just hands to your temples and maybe a little bit of rubbing of your scalp all over, but especially bringing some focus to where the skull and the neck meet, right there at the back of your neck, and a good rub in there. And coming around to your face and gently holding your face and stretching out those eyebrows, allowing them to relax and release. We really work hard all day. Our eyes, bringing a bit of darkness to our eyes by cupping our hands over our eyes. Oh, and then opening them up in all that darkness, and there's not much to see, and how relaxing and soothing that can be for a few seconds, and knowing that you can do this anytime to bring more relaxation to yourself, and especially when you're trying to fall asleep. A little bit of a massage of your cheeks, and especially your jaw, open and closing the jaw. Going to your ears now, giving them a lovely little massage, and a gentle tug down, and a gentle tug up, back. And then in between your ears, and I always just kind of make like V's like that, sticking my fingers on either side of my ears. And then that really allows me to massage those muscles that connect my jaw to my neck, and really getting in there, and then slowly dragging my fingers down my throat and letting them come to rest right at my heart center, and then feeling the warmth of my hands there and how soothing that feels. And if it serves, taking a nice breath in through your nose and then out through your mouth, and then one more like that, and out. Nice. And as I mentioned, we'll do a little body scan. For research, I was listening to some body scans. I guess it was a couple of days ago. I thought, it's been a long time since I've heard anybody else do a body scan. My probably the most influential teacher that I had when it came to the body scan was Jon Kabat-Zinn, and his body scan meditations were 45 minutes to 50 minutes long. They are long body scans, and sometimes I would notice that parts of me would actually get a little bit numb from lying so still, and they were always recommended to be done lying down. Body scan meditations that I do with you folks, I'm assuming that not all of you are lying down, but you're always welcome to do that. But we mostly sit, don't we? And they're never 45 minutes long. I think sometimes I've gone overboard, but never anything like 50 minutes to an hour. Anyway, the meditations that I was listening to a couple of days ago ranged from 10-minute meditations, and I found those were really pretty brief, and I left me wanting more. That's not a bad thing. I'm just going to mute you, Diane. Sorry. And that's not a bad thing to kind of be wanting more. But in the meantime, I found some, they were interesting. They started in different places and then would come back, and sometimes there was a bit of repetition. So, I mean, all this to say there are many ways to do this. And if the way that I propose it doesn't suit you, or it's too long or too short, then certainly I encourage you to find one that works for you. Again, this idea of bringing awareness to your body. Why? Because to know yourself and to be able to recognize changes, in tension or relaxation or even discomfort, it's quite helpful and healing, and it's really, really recommended. So without further ado, I'm going to invite you to bring awareness to the top of your head. And I always recommend that a body scan be done with your eyes closed. There's no need if that's not comfortable, but if you are leaving your eyes open, look down at something, let your vision become kind of fuzzy. But let's start by bringing awareness to the top of our head, that place. And maybe we can notice sensations there. Maybe there's a little bit of a warm breeze, or maybe a slight movement of our scalp or hair, if you have hair. Maybe there's, not much to notice at all at the top of your head. Certainly, if we touch the top of our head, we can feel that. Sometimes that's not a bad idea all right, there you are. So if you want to do that, you can try that. What I notice is that when I remove my hand, then there's sort of phantom sensations that linger on that always make me feel a little tickly. So awareness now, the top of our head, and letting our awareness flow down the back of our scalp, our skull, and in front, bringing awareness to our eyebrows, letting them be smooth, and to our eyes, letting our eyes be soft, to our cheeks, our faces, lips, mouth, inside the mouth, your teeth and your gums, your tongue. Is it possible to feel your ears, noticing the sound that reaches them? Anything else about your head, your face, your hair? Pausing just for a moment or two here. If there is any tension or tightness, by all means, encourage everything to be soft and to let go. And sometimes it helps to open and close our mouth, relieving any jaw tension, a little bit of a wobble. And again, soft eyes. Bringing our awareness now to our throat in front and our neck in back. That structure that holds our heavy heads upright. Our throats that breathe all day long, feeling the air come in and the air exit. The muscles at the back of our neck that support the neck, which in turn supports the head and connects and protects the spine. All of that. If your throat is tired from a lot of talking or emotion, inviting the throat to soften and let go. Same with the back of your neck, those muscles, feeling into them, imagining some warmth being perhaps applied to those hardworking muscles and bones in your neck. If warmth is comforting, if not, perhaps coolness. Maybe even touch if you feel like bringing your hands to your neck or to your throat to bring connection. So being able to sense into those parts of your body. Any tension or tightness, letting it flow away, letting it melt away. As we bring awareness now to our shoulders and our arms, our upper arms, our elbows, and our lower arms, into our wrists and our hands. Noticing the posture and the position of our arms and our hands. What are our hands doing? Are they resting? Are they gripping or clutching or clenching? Bringing awareness to each finger, starting with your thumbs and your index finger, your middle finger, your ring finger, and your little finger. The palms of your hands and the backs of your hands and the space in between. Just now, really bringing your loving and gentle awareness to your arms, your shoulders, your arms and your hands, and all the sensations that you might be able to notice that are there. If there's any tension or tightness, again, letting go, imagining that all that tension and tightness can flow out of your fingertips. And if it serves, taking in a deeper breath and a lovely, slow and gentle exhale, releasing as you release and exhale. Bringing awareness now to your upper body, in front, your chest, your rib cage, your sternum, your collarbones, and in back, your shoulder blades, your spine, and the ribs that wrap around to the back. Being aware of any movement in this part of your body. Sometimes when we're very still, we can almost sense our beating heart. That's not always the case, so if you can't, there's not a problem. Definitely, can you feel the expansion of your lungs as you breathe in and the contraction as you breathe out? Very slight movement. If there's any tension or tightness in your back or your chest, again, inviting those sensations to be released and to let go. And taking a breath in and letting your awareness come to your abdomen, your soft belly, and your lower back, the spine that continues to reach all the way to your tailbone and your sit bones. Noticing any sensations in your lower back. There may be some ache or tiredness. Into your abdomen. Whatever sensations you might notice there. Perhaps there's a holding or a guarding. Gentle invitation to soften, to let go, to breathe out. Perhaps noticing the movement as you breathe in and out at your belly. Breathing deeply, exhaling, noticing the movement. Letting go and softening. Letting go and softening. As we bring awareness now to our sit bones, our buttocks, our genitals, our hips, and the large muscles that sort of connect our hips to our legs. The muscles, the bone, the skin. And noticing in this moment, if you're sitting, the points of contact, the pressure on your sit bones as you sit. Sit, feeling very, very planted as gravity gently encourages you to come closer and closer to the earth center. Being held by gravity. If there's any tension or tightness in your sit bones or your buttocks or your legs, your upper legs, letting that gentle pull of gravity soothe and relax. Feeling that connection, that heavy, soothing connection to the earth. And we can let any tension or tightness flow out, down into the earth to be recycled. Gentle invitation to let go and imagining any energy that's been collected, any tension or tightness can be released in just that way from that powerful connecting point. Breathing in and out, imagining that any residual leftover places of tension or tightness can release and let go with that breath, to be melted away, taken away by that mysterious energy of gravity. It takes it away, it absorbs it, and then it recycles it. Like you now, I invite you to bring awareness to your long and powerful legs, the muscles and the bones, your upper legs, your knees, and your lower legs, your shins and your calves. Noticing the position of your legs, really sensing in again to the heaviness, these large, powerful bones and muscles. Feeling inside, noticing any sensations that are there to be noticed. Perhaps if your hands, like mine, are resting on your upper legs, sensing into the gentle warmth. Or maybe you can sense your clothing. Maybe you sense the bended knee if your knee is bent. Bringing your awareness now down into your ankles, complicated ankle joint, and into your feet, each of your toes, starting with your big toes. Really sensing into all of your toes and the space in between your toes. And the bottoms of your feet that might be resting on the floor inside your footwear. Sensing the sensation of your socks, if you have socks or something else to be noticed by your feet, your toes, the tops of your feet, and all the muscles and bones that make up your feet inside. If there's any tension or tightness in your feet, letting it flow out the tips of your toes. Noticing any sensations in your toes. Maybe there's warmth or tingling or pulsing. This next moment, bringing your awareness back to your hands. Noticing whatever sensations you are aware of in your hands. Tingling or pulsing or warmth or coolness. And then, just as an experiment, switch back to your toes. Coming again to the top of your head. Imagine that there's a string, that very powerful string, that kind of comes from the top of your head. And that if there was an energy that was gently pulling on that string, elongating your neck and your spine, allowing your shoulders to flow downward, away from your ears, away from your neck. Letting your arms feel very heavy now. So you have an erect spine, relaxed arms, relaxed legs, solid sit bones as you sit in this erect posture. How does it feel? Is there any part of you that's becoming a bit tired or fatigued? Taking a breath in through your nose, filling your chest and lungs, exhaling in your own time. Again, one more time, breathing in. And when you're ready, breathing out. Letting your body relax a bit now. The string isn't being pulled tightly anymore. There can be some relaxation, some letting go. In this last minute, just being very quiet, sensing any sensations, welcoming the sensations, and perhaps even bringing a little bit of movement to yourself as you think about the fact that this body scan is wrapping up. You've spent some time with your amazing miracle of a body. Expressing a little bit of gratitude, if that serves you. Going to chime the bowl. You may want to open your eyes and move your body gently. So yeah, you need to move any part of yourself to bring some energy. That wasn't quite 45 minutes. I think that was a little less than half an hour, about 20 minutes or so. Um, so congratulations for taking the time to be with yourself like that. Um, the last thing that there's time to do is loving kindness, meditation. And you guys know how we do this. I will offer meditations, a short version, a long version, again, with the intention of helping us recognize the words, the content of the words, and maybe letting that land in our heart. And then we repeat. We say it 3 times. So let's begin. May all beings everywhere, including myself, be happy. May all beings everywhere, including myself, be happy. May we live with a joyful and playful heart, mind, body, and spirit. May all beings everywhere, including myself, be happy. Breathing in, and as we exhale, letting that loving, kind intention travel from our hearts to be received by all beings everywhere. And the next loving, kind intention that I'd like to offer: may all beings everywhere, including myself, be healthy. May all beings everywhere, including myself, be healthy. May we live with the ease and the grace of a healthy mind and body. May we feel no pain and suffering. May all beings everywhere, including myself, be healthy, with a mind and a body that gives us energy and strength and stability, wisdom and healing. May all beings everywhere, including myself, be healthy. Breathing in, and as we exhale, imagining that those words and that heartfelt intention travels outside of our bodies and our homes and into the world to be received by all beings. May all beings everywhere, including myself, be safe. May all beings everywhere, including myself, be safe and protected from harms and burdens that happen. May all beings everywhere, including myself, be safe and protected. Breathing in, and as we exhale, imagining that those words travel outside our own bodies and minds and are shared with all beings everywhere. and the power of our exhalation. And the last loving, kind intention that I'll offer goes like this. May all beings everywhere, including myself, be peaceful. May all beings everywhere, including myself, be peaceful. May we live with the ease and the grace and the goodness of stillness, contentment, well-being. May all beings everywhere, including myself, be peaceful. Breathing in, and as we exhale, letting the power of all of these loving, kind intentions be shared powerfully with our fellow travelers, all beings everywhere. Bringing your hands together and perhaps holding them close to your heart center. And breathing a breath or two. Exhaling. And I'll chime the bowl. And we'll let that mark the end of tonight's practice.